Good evening, and welcome the Hopac community to our regular monthly board meeting, February 17th, 2022. I'd like to ask the board now for a motion to open the meeting.
So moved.
Trustee McCracken, second.
Second.
Trustee, Senior Trustee Lucy Masafra, all in favor?
Aye.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Once again, schools community, welcome. We have a really nice agenda for you all this evening. Put the glasses on so I can share that with you. We didn't receive any communications on the agenda items, but we have something very exciting that we're very excited about. So we have under new business. I need a motion to accept the advocacy statement provided by our very, very aggressive and very well-astute ad hoc advisory committee. So moved. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And I'll read the resolution.
Can I mark, I'm going to abstain to avoid a conflict of interest because of my job.
Yes, noted, trustee. Thank you. So it's resolved, the Board of Education hereby approves the statement put forth by the Ad hoc Advocacy Committee and will be reflected and available on the MCSD website. Excuse me. So what I'd like to do right now is I'd like to introduce our quarterback and feature running back of the ad hoc committee, Ben DeLulo and Tanner McCracken. They have a presentation for us. Guys?
Sir. For any of the members of the ad hoc committee, please come up here for the presentation.
Okay, so we're going to try to make this under 10 minutes. So if you were paying attention back in September, this committee was established by the Board of Ed on September 28th of 2021. Thank you. Why did we put this committee together? Okay, the board. Well, the purpose was the board and superintendent will be committed to monitoring federal and state education initiatives and will advocate for policies that are in the best interest of our district. So the ad hoc committee was tasked with aiding the board's efforts in getting advocacy for the district and the community. On December, so we started this in September. We met twice, and on December 21st, the board approved an advocacy statement for local control for New York school districts, which stands for safety and the best possible education experience for our students, calls for answers on which metrics and signs will be used to switch from state COVID mandates to local control. Accomplished already, statement mailed to state, county, and town representatives. That was done at the end of December. So as the quarterback or the running back, thank you, right? I'm really proud of the fact that we were able to turn around. So now I'm going to turn it over to the court. Well, what position? You're the specialty kicker. No, he's our expert. He's our man in Albany, Tanner McCracken.
Thank you, Trustee DeLulo. And yes, as you all know, I proudly serve in the state government. I work up there in the legislature. And I was happy to give some insight to the committee on what does it take to actually properly advocate. Because there's a lot that the school board controls and the superintendent controls, but I think what's come clear to all of us in this era is there's a lot of powers above us that we can't control. And there's a lot of frustration and concerns that we cannot control. So what this committee is all about is how can we take those concerns and opinions and channel that energy correctly. And we as a district want to provide the public those resources. So this is just the first of many efforts that we're going to be able to do as a community. So Trustee DeLulo talked about the committee and the statement. but there's more to just a statement from the board going up to the governor and our representatives. Now we can get the people involved. We have strength in numbers, and that's what our plan is all about. So what can you do to get involved if you believe in this statement? You can write a letter to our representatives. You can call our representatives, call their offices, and of course, you can share on social media, tell a friend to get involved. And we're going to talk about what those resources are and how you can use them. But as you can see there on the slideshow, on the right side is a graphic that was made by one of the committee members' wife, Jack Mona. His wife made that graphic, and it's wonderful. So we're also going to make sure we're getting those out on social media. So I am going to bring it down to our ad hoc website. Okay. So on the district website, I'm going to show you how to get there at the end of the slideshow. But we have our website resources, and on there you'll find a letter template, a phone script, and the contact information of our government representatives. So I now like to call up committee member Maggie Trainer. She's going to talk about what the letter is and how you use it. So, committee member?
Hi, how are you? Can I hold this?
Yeah.
I always feel otherwise be bending totally over. So, so a group of us that are on the ad hoc committee subdivided up to work on different things. I worked with a group of members behind me to put together the letter. So what Tanner and Ben were saying, and this is what's truly important, and again, I should be speaking to you guys, but I feel like you know this, so I'm telling the people in the room. So all along throughout the pandemic, in period, whenever you have an issue, you contact your assemblyman, your state senator. What we've done, because we feel like we've lost local control during this pandemic, and who knows what the future brings. Right now it might be masks and possible vaccine mandates, but in a year or two from now, who knows what the next thing is. So this is a tool that we've created, and when you go on the website and see, the letter is generic, so it doesn't go into details about what we want control over. There is an area in the letter that you can put in your personal piece and write that in. We've made it super easy for you. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You can print the letter out, email it, however you want to use it, and put your individual piece in there. Now, the most important piece of this is that if we just get on social media and complain or talk to our friends, it does nothing. It's an election year. We have Barkham up for re-election. We have new assemblyman people coming down the pipeline. It's strength in numbers. You have to send this letter out. As Jack will talk, you have to make the phone calls. If you don't do it, it means nothing. They'll pay attention. If there's hundreds and hundreds of people contacting them, they're going to pay attention. So that's all I have to say about the letter piece, and I'll let Jack speak to the phone script.
So again, like Maggie said, we had a great team. Ben said we had 2 meetings and we were able to accomplish a lot in 2 meetings. We stayed a lot later than any of us wanted to stay, but we were really serious about getting this done. We asked the school district to work with us, and now we have an advocacy committee. But now it's to get this committee to work as a resource for all of the residents, not just us. We all need to work together on this. That was one step. Now we need to work together as a district and a community. We need to call our elected officials who are up for re-election and let them know we need their help. But it doesn't stop there. We need to always keep in touch with them. We shouldn't just interact or hear from them when it's election time. They work for us. We elect them all year, every year, not just when they're running. We need to call, like Tanner said, we need to call Pete Harkin, who's up for re-election, Assemblyman Kevin Byrne, who's going for county executive, and tell them it is imperative, if you believe what we are doing here, it's imperative for them to support us and get the information we need to make our own decisions as a district. We need them to fight to give the district control over COVID protocols, anything that's now and in the future, like Maggie alluded to. We pen the script and following it is key, but you can add a personal story if you want, and you're encouraged to add a personal story, because that's how you really sell something, is by making it your own. Please get involved. No one can do this alone. It took 8 of us to get this. It's going to take the whole community to really get this done. And make sure we all share these scripts and flood our elected officials. These resources, like Tanner said, will be available on the website. Please share them as much as you can if you really truly believe in what we're doing here. And I thank you.
Thank you so much to both of the committee members, and they led the groups of drafting these documents, but you can see all the committee members here and those that are not here. These are residents, these are parents that volunteered their time to help draft those with the 2 committee members that spoke. So it's not just the 2 that spoke, it's everyone standing here that really worked to make these resources available. So now we're going to close with talking about why this is so important. It's not about I, it's about we. It's what we can do together as a community, and that's what these resources are all about. One letter shows up to a senator's office, way different than if 200 show up. That's how you get your voices heard as a community, and you're looking at your representatives right here. There's not enough local control. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about metrics to know how we can best govern our school district. So if we all do that together, then this advocacy plan can really work. So let's get started. So this is where you can find the resources we just talked about. So the link will be available. I did talk to the superintendent. We're going to make the link available. But if you go on the Manbac Central School District website, go to the Board of Education tab, go to Board Subcommittee tab, and then you'll see the ad hoc committee there. And when you click that link, it will bring you to a page that looks just like this, if everyone can see. And on there, if I can scroll, right, here we go. On there, you can see on the right-hand side are the resources we were just talking about. So I'm zooming in. On the right-hand side, there's the letter to our Senator Pete Harkins, our state senator, our letter to Assemblyman Kevin Byrne, and the phone script. And on the phone script, there's the contact information for both of their offices. Now, why just them? Because we have congressmen, we have county representatives, we have the governor. Because for this plan, it's a state government mandate. So we are targeting our state representatives. Down the road, other plans, we might be targeting other representatives, depending on what level of government. But the reason why you just have those 2 elected officials is they're our voice at the New York State level. We're asking them to advocate to the governor for our desirable control and metrics. So on there is the PDF. You can always copy and paste the text onto one of your own files, but there's also a link to download the Word version. You can download it, print it out, mail it out, and on the phone script, you have the phone numbers to call. One other thing that's important to note, and this goes for any level of advocacy, we have added this nice blue tab that says click for elected officials, and I just want to take a quick moment to thank our district clerk, Melody Zalaka, who has really made this website what it is. What we requested, she really makes it interactive. So on here, if you click this link, this will bring you to a site where these are the elected representatives. As you can see, there's our congressmen, our U.S. senators. These are our representatives that represent our district. There's a lot of names we see on TV, we see online. This shows the Manbac residents who actually constitutionally represents our district, so we know we're reaching out to the right people. So if you have another issue that you're passionate about at an individual level, we now have easy contact information for you to use. Okay, so to bring this to a close, I want to again thank all of the committee members, the Board of Education, our fellow colleagues, and Superintendent DiCarlo, truly for your support in these efforts. So thank you so much. I'm going to pass it over to President Delulo, which I forgot to do.
We all get excited. So this is not this is one thing, one advocacy, and it's incredibly important, it's incredibly timely. And I just want to say that we're not going to stop with this issue. There's other issues down the line that are going to be more important, more timely, and also they're different. So for example, we've been talking to the superintendent about some of the financial strains that the district is under with certain other demographic changes that are going on, not only in our district, but in the entire state. So this will not stop here with this particular issue. So we'll be bringing this, and this committee will see this committee in the future doing other things. So these guys are these are the ambassadors, all right? So if you have something that you want to talk about, come to us or you come to them and we'll bring it up to the committee. So there is an avenue for you to get your work, your thoughts through. And, we can stand up and want to give us comments, it's great, that's America. But we're giving you a platform here to do something very tactical and very specific, which doesn't always happen. So again, thanks to Tanner, thanks to Mr. DeCarlo, thanks to the board for supporting us, and thanks to the community. Okay.
Excellent job, gentlemen. Excellent job, committee. This is the way, as I said, to echo Ben's thoughts and Tanner's thoughts, this is the way that we get involved. We had the privilege, Vice President Sabino had to step out for this evening, but he and I were on a Zoom with Senator Pete Harcum on Friday, with other board representatives and superintendents from our neighboring towns that he represents, and I got to tell you, it was a pretty intense phone call, and I think our Zoom, and I think there were a lot of great points that he'll be taking back to his office and his constituents. So we'll look forward to some more. Just turn the screws a little bit and keep the pressure on. So, boys, thank you very much. Excellent work. So we're going to move on to. We have some housekeeping that we have to do. So what I'd like to do right now is, could I get a motion to accept our treasurer's report for December 2021? Trustee McDonough, second.
Second.
Trustee.
Sorry.
Trustee Ben swallowed the mic. Ben, please. All in favor? Aye. Warrants for December, motion to accept the warrants for December 2021, motion please.
So moved.
Trustee McCracken, second. Second. Trustee Michael Martin, all in favor?
Aye.
Revenue status report, December 2021, a motion to accept please. Senior Trustee Lucy Masafra, second. Trustee McDonough, all in favor?
Aye.
And finally, our budget transfers for December 2021, a motion to accept please.
So moved.
Can I get a second, please?
Second.
Trustee Masafra. All in favor?
Aye.
I would like to turn it over now to our man in the trenches, our illustrious superintendent of schools, Mr. Anthony DeCarlo, and his superintendent's report.
Thank you, President Ryan. As you know, a lot of things have been happening in January, the start of the new year, and there's a number of events that are coming up, so I'd like to take this opportunity just to reflect on some of the great things that have happened over the last month since we last met in January. I want to take this opportunity to thank Mr. Cafeteria, his team, Ms. Kelly Kischek, Ms. Margaret Fox for the outstanding middle school STEM fair that took place here on Friday, January 28th. An incredible day of projects, of learning, of sharing, of teamwork, of camaraderie, of exploring. The students just did an absolutely incredible job, and I think it's part of the strength in our science, technology, engineering, and art and math programs here at Manbac Central School District. And it really starts here, and then it feeds its way up into the high school. And you'll be hearing during our budget presentation about Project Lead the Way that has been instituted up at the high school and has started to make its way down here to the middle school. And these kind of programs really fit into real-world practices. And what you're going to be seeing more and more of in the years to come is how do we get real-life experiences into the hands of our kids when they're here in our schools. Those type of project-based learning, and this starts here at the Manbac Middle School, our STEM fair. So I want to congratulate all that were involved and all the winners during that time frame. So congratulations to all. Also, at the Katona Museum of Art, up through next week, Sunday, February 27th, we want to invite you to look at an art show from seniors around the Upper Hudson Valley. We have many Manbac High School seniors' work that is there. So if you are next week, It's closed on Mondays, but if you're available, please go up and see the amazing artwork from our seniors at the Young Artist 2020 campaign for this year. Once again, Manbac High School and Manbac Central School Districts has an honor. Mr. Scott Rizzo was named as a New York State Master Teacher. He is in his 4th year at Manbac High School and to receive this honor, which is very selective by New York State to participate in the Master Teacher Program, is a credit to Mr. Scott Rizzo, to the department, to the high school, and I know you've been following along what's been happening in our science department for the last number of years, but we have kids that are coming forth with incredible experiments. They're taking place in research competitions throughout the East Coast, throughout the country, and our kids continue to do incredible work, and Mr. Rizzo is a part of why that happened. So I want to congratulate Mr. Scott Rizzo. When we look at sports, when we look at what's happening with sports, and we're getting down to the playoffs, and we've had a number of great things happen this winter season, and I'm going to say the word "I believe" because I don't want to, I'm not 100% sure, but I think I pretty much am sure. I think this is the first time in Manbac High School history that our boys and girls basketball teams went undefeated in league play, both 10-0. That's an outstanding accomplishment. And because of that, the girls and the boys are the 4 seeds. They've gotten byes into the tournament. The girls will open up on Saturday here at Manbac High School at 6 p.m. against the winner of Head, Hud, and Rye. Also on Saturday, we have the Manbac is hosting the Section 1 cheer competition, and those winners will go on to the States. That starts Saturday at 10 o'clock also at Manbac High School. And I want, you hear me hearing Manbac High School, has these championships. Manbac High School has the following championships. It's a testament to our athletic department, it's a testament to our coaches, it's a testament to this Board of Education and the community. We are really well respected throughout the Hudson Valley for hosting these tournaments, hosting them in a manner that is professional, that is collegial, that is inviting and welcoming. Because a lot of districts won't go out of their way to do it, but we do, and I think it's something that really talks about who we are as a community. So I want to thank all those who are involved. Our hockey team starts their playoffs tomorrow night, 9:15 versus Nyack Tappan Zee. Also, we have a Section 1 champion in wrestling, 145 pounds, champion Angelo Centrone. He'll be competing in the States coming up. Also, George Johnson Jr. and Nick Greco also qualified to compete in New York State Championships on February 25th and 26th up in Albany. We wish these young men all the best. And we also have a gymnast, Leah Grapp, who qualified for the New York State Gymnastics Championship up in Buffalo on March 5th. And then we have Gabby Marino and Alyssa Arzaga, who qualified for the New York State Bowling Championships, and that will take place on March 12th in Syracuse. So as you can see, great winter season. We continue in the playoffs and in some of these individual and team championships. We wish all of our Manbac athletes the best in the next weeks to come. So congratulations to all of them. Great. And before closing, as I'm sure you can be aware, next week we are on our midwinter break. If there is any breaking news that does happen, I will make sure to get information out to you. Who knows, ladies and gentlemen, from day to day, what happens and what doesn't happen. But, if you saw my spotlight, I've been very clear. Once the mask mandates are lifted, it will be optional. I think it is, we need to be respectful of those who still want to continue to wear them because they may have some issues of themselves or at their home, and then you have to be respectful for those who may want to wear that, whether those are teachers, staff, students, that's a family decision. But I think, so everybody waits to see, what's DeCarlo going to say once the mandate is lifted. I'm letting you know now, that's what's going to wind up happening. So, again, who knows if it'll happen next week or the following week. But I want to wish everybody a great midwinter recess. Hopefully those of you who are going away, enjoy, relax. If you're not going away and you have a staycation, relax and enjoy, and hopefully the weather will get great, when March comes, and we'll have a mild March, and, be able to continue on and having a very successful school year. So thank you all very much, and back to you, President Lonnie.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you very much for your informative report, as always. What I'd like to do right now, we're going to jump down over to committee reports. Finance met. Trustee Musafo, would you please update us on finance?
Everyone here. Okay. Good evening, everyone. Finance met on February the 9th. In attendance was myself, Superintendent Anthony DiCarlo, Treasurer Lisa Zarisky, Assistant Superintendent Sandra Lohesi, with Trustee Ben Lulo, and myself. We've had discussions regarding the 2022-23 state aid. We talked about our capital projects, where they're currently at, and what the next phases will be. There were some discussions regarding our tax cap, more to come on that, and then we had a discussion regarding our stimulus funds that the district received. We have upcoming budget meetings that are posted on our website, and our next meeting will be in March. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Musafo. Human Resource Committee met on February 9th. In attendance, Superintendent Mr. DiCarlo, Assistant Superintendent for Human Resources, Deborah Legato, who is Dave Fafaro, Mike Simone, Adam Savino, and myself. The fruits of that labor, if you've heard me before, are contained right here. And it's a heck of a heavy lift with the retirements and resignations and filling teaching spots and roles and coaching appointments and so on and so forth. I can't thank this committee enough for all the work that they do, but it really comes down to to Anthony and Deborah and her team, and so again, the fruits of the labor are right here. And thank you again, Deborah and Anthony. Let's see, do we have another committee report? I think that's it for the committee reports. What I'd like to do right now is we have a donation from the Yearbook Club. Senior Trustee Musafo, would you mind reading the donation?
Sure.
Thank you.
Resolved upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education hereby accepts $5,048.83 from the Manbac High School Athletic Department for the purchase of a 12-foot freestanding scoring table from DSN Sports to be used for games. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that scorer's table is well overdue. Thank you to the yearbook staff, that's for sure. Oh, yeah, so a motion to accept the donation. Tanner McCracken, second, please. Second, Lucy Musafo, all in favor?
Aye.
And thank you for the yearbook club for that donation. It was well overdue. I think the existing one there will be repurposed. I think it's going to be slightly renovated. We'll move that to the other gym so we can have scoring in both the gyms. So it's a very exciting time right now. With that, we will move to make a motion to accept this evening's consent agenda. Can I have a motion, please, to accept this evening's consent agenda? Senior Trustee Lucy Musafo, second, please. Second, Trustee Michael Martin. All in favor? Aye. And now the most exciting part of the evening. We're going to go to our resident comment portion. We have a number of people that we want to hear from this evening. We know how difficult it is to get the nerve to get up and speak in front of the school board and on television and so on and so forth. It's aggressive. We have quite a few. So what I'd like to just remind everybody is that if you could just keep it to around 2 to 3 minutes, which is what we've always been trying to do. Try to keep it to 3 minutes and really try to stay on point. Okay, I know it's so easy. Jack and I just spoke about this. Jack, I call you right out. But you get passionate, and then what happens is you start to kind of vacillate a little bit. So grow up, have a couple of bullet points. We're not the end. We're here to listen. Please address the board, and what I'll do right now is I'll ask Melody to bring up our first person for this evening.
Dara Berkowitz.
Dara, come on down. How are you, Dara? Nice to see you.
Hi, good evening. It's been 3 weeks since the last board meeting, students are practicing the skill of independent inquiry. Our students are choosing to read about abuse, African American life, Asian American life, ambition, book burning, bullying, censorship, children of alcoholics, civil rights, coming of age, dating, family violence, foster care, grief and loss, happiness, high school, historical fiction, homelessness, identity, Japanese American life, LGBTQIA+, love, murder, narrative nonfiction, overcoming adversity, politics and government, prejudices, racism, resistance to oppressive governments, religious life, romance, self-realization, survival, totalitarianism, urban fiction, and war, among others. This list is not representative of every member of the high school student body. Rather, it lends itself to the individual members of the high school. When considering that, it makes sense that some of the content might offend, upset, or disappoint, or just not appeal to at least one person in the building. But does that mean that all of these books should be removed from our collection? Does that mean we should limit students' independent inquiry? Does this mean we should censor topics that might make some uncomfortable, but may save the life of another? Tonight, and at future board meetings, you may hear from the people who will feel the impact of this censorship the most, our students. You may hear students asking questions, expressing their feelings, and hoping that their passionate pleas to the board create a holistic picture of the absolute necessity of keeping books about sensitive topics on our shelves. These pleas support Manbac's diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, as described in Superintendent DeCarlo's most recent communication to the community, where he emphasized the importance of meeting the needs of each and every student, something he admits that we fall short of. He asks that we help meet our mission with a focus on the phrase each and every student. Every student, faculty member, staff member, and visitor to our schools should feel welcomed, appreciated, respected, and that they have a voice. This is what our students ask, expect, deserve, and according to the 1982 Supreme Court decision of PICO versus the Board of Education, are legally entitled to. Finally, I'd like to address a statement made at last month's meeting that included an excerpt from a quote by prolific author, political activist, Nobel Peace Prize winner, and Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel. When considering the words spoken, it is important to understand who said them and the larger work from which they came. Like many of the excerpts from the books that are currently being challenged in our community and throughout the nation, excerpts need context, because without it, they have little meaning. During his Nobel acceptance speech, he proclaimed, we must always take sides. Neutrality helps the oppressor, never the victim. Silence encourages the tormentor, never the tormented. Sometimes we must interfere when human lives are endangered, when human dignity is in jeopardy, national borders and sensitivities become irrelevant. Wherever men or women are persecuted because of their race, religion, or political views, that place must, at that moment, become the center of the universe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dow.
Good evening. Hi.
Good evening. So, when you sent out the memo about the COVID test, it had said, they were going to be given out to any students who wanted them. And I did ask, under the Facebook post, how would you decide if students wanted them, but nobody answered me. So I told my children to politely decline the test when they were given out. I just told them to tell their teachers, no thank you, we don't want any tests. And I did explain to them why we didn't want them. I told them that A, we all had COVID less than 2 months ago. I'm not going to test you and get a false positive. B, I'm not testing healthy children. C, I told them if you're sick, I'm going to take you to the doctor. I'm not giving you one of these at-home tests. And I told them that nothing in life is free. These tests aren't free. Somebody is paying for them. Well, my 2 children went to school and politely declined the tests. They were told to take them home. My daughter was told to put it back in her book bag, and my son was told, well, take it in case you change your mind. I came here to return my tests, but when I walked in the door, I was handed probably about 40 or 50 tests from parents to give back. I think this shows a clear message that we're done jumping through hoops for our kids' right to breathe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Melody?
Kim Whittlemore.
Kim? Hi, Kim, welcome.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me, superintendents. So I'm going to jump on board with what she just mentioned about test kits. Sensitive subject for everybody, I understand that. But my concern is, yes, there was no clear message as to how these test kits were being distributed. Kids were sent home with them, but if they were told, again, not to take them, they were forced to take them. I have an issue with teachers telling my children that they need to be tested when they come back on Monday after the break. That's not acceptable. That should not have been a message that was given to an elementary school student. So if you could please have a conversation with the teachers, that's something that should be said. Our children are taught to respect authority, at least I know I teach my children that. My children are not going to deny a teacher when they ask them to do something. So if I told my child not to take it, and a teacher says, take it home, you need to take it, they're going to take it. That's how I raise my children. So if a child says to a teacher, I'm not taking it, the teacher should not be forcing it on them. My other question is, in the middle school, the students that were denying to take the tests home, I was told their names were being collected. Can you answer my question as to why the names were being collected?
I wouldn't know, but I will make sure that we get you an answer. It's the first I'm hearing of it, so I will make sure we get you an answer. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Melody. Yeah.
Kate Bellantoni.
Kate. Welcome, Kate.
How are you? Kate Bellantoni. I'm here regarding 2 things. The first is I just kind of want an update on the cafeteria status for elementary schools. I don't really understand the ins and outs of the mandate, so I'm really here just looking for the help on understanding that. Is there a difference between the mask mandate and the social distancing requirements? Because it's my understanding that the cafeterias in elementary schools aren't being used because you guys need the extra space for gym classes in order to safely social distance. So I mean, it just seems like everything's at max capacity now. When I was calling some private schools before my son started in the fall because I was worried about him wearing a mask, I know a few schools told me that they weren't doing anything with social distancing, so I don't know if that was like a MAPAC thing or a state thing. But I am hoping that maybe we can get the cafeteria back open after winter break. So I was just looking for guidance on that. And I also have a letter from my 5-year-old written as best he could with a picture, hoping and asking you guys to open up the cafeteria. Do you want me to go on to my second thing? Okay.
Sure, Kate.
So my second thing, and I wasn't really sure if I was going to touch on it again, but here I am. I know we've taken some steps forward regarding the library books, and I've had my meetings with the principals and submitted all the necessary forms and stuff for review. And Mr. DiCarlo, earlier this week, you told me that you guys were in the midst of forming a committee to review the books. So I'm just curious as to who's going to be making up this committee. if the board is ultimately, from what I understand, now the board, you guys are ultimately responsible for whether these books stay in the schools they're in. So I would hope that some board members would be on this committee and be reading the books themselves. I'm also curious if the books are still to be available to students during the review. And I feel like I'm beating a dead horse here, but I guess it has to be said again about being a book banner. I know the library now has informational handouts on their desk, I'm told, about book banning. I really don't know where to go here. It's a topic versus context thing, and I don't know, maybe there's a miscommunication between the concerned parents and the librarians as far as what we're looking for, because I feel like if they actually saw maybe some of the emails that we've been exchanging and what I'm asking, there wouldn't be this like divisive, so, I mean, again, a majority of the books, all I'm asking for is that the publisher's recommended age is 14 and above. They shouldn't be offered to 11-year-olds. So, again, again, I don't know what's being told to the librarians, but maybe if we can have a little bit, clearer communication, and maybe I won't be called book banner nonstop. Okay, that is it.
That's great, Kate.
Thank you.
Simon Matute.
Simon? Welcome, Simon.
Cindy, it's all good. My name is Cindy Matute, and I'm a student here at MHS. I just wanted to speak about my personal experience about January 28th. Just as the school day was beginning, you sent out an email to all Manbac parents informing them of your decision as superintendent of the district to not acknowledge the state Supreme Court's decision that ruled mask mandates as a civil rights violation. As a result, you heard from quite a few angry parents that Wednesday during the Board of Education meeting. I'm sure some of them aren't here. I came to that meeting and was shocked that nobody decided to bring up the fact that you broke the law. In the high school, I was possibly the only student that refused to wear a mask. I was sent to the office where I had to deal with verbal abuse from the secretaries and then proceeded to have a pleasant conversation with Dr. Lawrence and one of the APs. They said that you were just following orders and just doing what your attorney told you to do, and that they couldn't do anything about it. I found it rather ironic when I was commended by Dr. Lawrence for, quote, following the core values of MHS and being a risk taker. Too bad I was threatened with punishment for being a risk taker. I guess no one really values that after all. But let's not forget about who really came after me that afternoon, the students. I'll tell you some of the things that they said to me on social media that day. You're an effing retard. That student used the wrong "you're." Stop trying to be some kind of leader. You're effing delusional. Wrong "you're" again. You think you're some kind of revolutionary leader when you're not. This person used the right "you're," thank God. Maybe instead of using money to buy COVID test kits, we could use it to teach sophomores how to write properly and debate respectfully. That day you had a chance. That day you had a chance to prove that you would side with parents over the state. You had a chance to be an example and be a risk taker. An email was sent out that morning claiming that a stay had been put in place when in fact it wasn't done until the afternoon. I believe that I speak for not all, definitely not all, but many of the students when I say that we are sick of being reprimanded about wearing masks when almost everyone here knows that cloth masks aren't effective. Before this day was in effect, I attempted to organize a walkout on social media on one of the coming days that week. Then someone who I have added on social media proceeded to go and tell the administration that I was going to plan a terrorist attack. A terrorist attack. An administrator called my mother to make sure that there was no protest taking place and that they, quote, didn't want anybody to get into trouble. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for creating a compassionate environment of risk takers and problem solvers. What we are being taught is how to be obedient, no matter how random, illogical, immoral, or damaging the rules may be. History is my favorite subject. One thing that has been taught in history is that no good can come from a society that teaches blind obedience to power. Thank you.
Rebecca Lazar.
Good evening. My name is Rebecca Lazar, and I'm a senior at Manbac High School, as well as one president of the Gender Equality Club. My club members and I are here to discuss the issue of censoring our school's library. This issue is not just in Manbac, it's sweeping across the nation. Many parents are afraid that schools are overstepping, attempting to parent children rather than educate them. However, we students are afraid too. We fear a future where the truth is washed away, a future where history is altered just for the sake of comfort. Removing important books from library shelves does not erase the need for them and the conversations that they create. In reality, it isolates different identities and silences voices that we need now more than ever. You can take marginalized groups out of school libraries, but you can't take them out of our schools, much less out of the country. Just because you don't like what someone has to say, it does not mean they cannot say it. That is the beauty of living in America. We have the freedom to speak our minds, share our experiences, and read the books that we choose. We are not here today to tell anyone how to do their job as a parent. Rather, we are here to allow the school to continue its job of educating the next generation. As a member of that next generation, I can only hope that we will remain free to read and free to learn. Hi everyone. My name is Maxine Van Norbeck. I'm the Secretary for Gender Equality Club at Manbac High School, and I'm a sophomore. On a list of literature that came out at the December MCSD meeting was the work Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out, a book written by Suzanne Coughlin that chronicles the experiences of transgender young adults through a series of interviews and photographs. It is an amazing resource for questioning with adolescents to learn more about gender and sexual identity along with growing up. However, this book has been challenged by many districts because of some explicit content. We do agree that some of the content can be categorized as mature for younger readers, but it does not make sense to ban so many enlightening stories because of some graphic retellings. Readers have the ability to skip over these pages and still get the full experience of the novel. Books like Beyond Magenta offer a place for comfort for our nation's teens, as well as to help educate the country as a whole. Overall, we must ask ourselves what is more important, a potentially controversial scene or the ability for a child to be comfortable in their own skin. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Molly Decker, and I'm the co-president of the Gender Equality Club at Manbac High School. I want to be an English teacher when I grow up, so as you might guess, literature is really important to me. We're here today to protect our right to choose which books we do or do not read. I've spoken to some people who have read some of the text in question, and many are asking why. Why are these books being questioned? And the reason for that is people don't remember a single piece of profane language when they read a book. The truth is, profanity is part of our reality. If the author has done a good job writing their book, all that you're going to remember is the message that they're trying to get across. We understand that some content may not be appropriate for school libraries. We ask you to trust our librarians to make these decisions. I personally am part of the queer community. There's a reason I'm telling you this. It's because I still remember the first book I read with a gay person in it. It remains one of my favorite books to this day. Because what that book did was make me feel seen. It made me feel like a person. In middle school and high school, you don't always feel like a person. You feel like a pariah, you feel like a reject, you feel like an outcast. But because of this book that had someone like me in it, I felt seen. I want everybody to have the opportunity to feel seen, no matter what they believe and who they are. Thank you.
Thank you. Is that Laura?
Yes.
Yeah, Laura? Laura Nappy?
Angelo Savino.
question about awareness. I'm sure that when I say what I have to say, no one's going to be aware that this happened. My child came home from school, and they told me the indoctrinator posed a question to the class. What are unvaccinated people? A student raised his hand and answered pro-choice. And shot back at the student in a raised voice. No, they're Trump supporters. They are the ones refusing to get the vaccine. But that's good. The government has a plan to let all anti-vax get sick and die. Let's talk about conspiracy wackos, huh? Good, let them die. Kill the enemy, he said. My child was confused and surprised that a teacher would advocate for the deaf people, for simply not wanting medically or for their choice not to be vaccinated with an experimental vaccine that you could still get the virus anyway. We have family members that are vaccinated. We have family members that aren't vaccinated. So to hear this from a teacher bothered my student. So for this sick, twisted freak to label family and friends as an enemy and should be killed, I find that quite disturbing. Do you think so? I asked what class this was the answer. I thought to myself, what's the correlation between vaccines? Was this indoctrinator explaining how big pharmaceutical industrial complex and government prostitutes use fear to line their pockets? But then I realized that truth and logic is not a principle. Then I deduced that most likely so embarrassed and ashamed by his blind allegiance to an illegitimate mail-order president and his horrific managing of the economy that there was nothing to talk about that day. So he turned his anger on the fellow Americans, students, and their families.
Hi, my name is Kelly, and I have a son in the high school, and I have nieces and a nephew in Fulmer. I do have something prepared to speak, but
Turn the mic back on, please.
I can barely hear you. I did have something prepared to speak, but I received a letter from a student that wanted it to be read, so I'm going to hold my comments tonight to read this letter. Dear Mr. DiCarlo, I really want to say that I want school to be normal again. I watched videos of what school was like from when my mom was in high school in the 1990s. I want my high school years to be like that. They had dances, activities, etc. I don't want my high school memories to be that of wearing a mask and nothing fun. I want life to be normal again. I ask you and your staff to work very hard to make this happen. We need to sue the state of New York. What the state is doing to us is abuse. Masking us is punishment. Thank you. It's just the initials AR from a high school student. I do want to add that I'm glad to hear about the advocacy committee and what is being done. As somebody that has been writing to our representatives for months now, it is very important for parents to do that. You will find the representatives that are like-minded, and those that will respond to you, you'll know that they're like-minded, and if you don't get an answer, you will find your answer with that. So I do think it's very important because there were certain regulations that were just passed under the Board of Regents, SAPA laws, that went an alternate way, and there was also other votes that just happened last week. So I want to thank you guys. I know it took a while to get it done, so hopefully, you know, going forward, some of these actions could happen a little bit faster. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you could let the student know that that's purposely why we moved the snowball to March, because we're hoping, we didn't want to do it in February, because we're hoping that in the next couple of weeks, it'll be lifted, but we are looking to do these things as trying to get back to normal, as that individual let you know. So if you can let them know that, I appreciate it. Thank you.
With regards to what Mr. Savino had to say, there's a protocol when you do this, and what you need to do is if you have something like that, make sure that the building principal knows about it. And I think that's probably because then we can start looking at it in a different way. But to just come, is Mr. Savino here? He's gone? Oh. So, but that's what, if you have issues like that, if you haven't been told the right, you feel like there's something that's amiss, go to the building principal and make sure that the building principal knows about it. That way, the building principal can get in touch with the powers that be, can meet with our assistant superintendents, our superintendent, and get a resolution to something like that. Coming up here and pontificating, just doesn't really help anything because we're not here to debate, okay? It's going to have to, there's just a process. So all I'm saying is please, it's not an easy process, just trust the process, okay? So thank you for that. Melanie, who's up?
Jennifer Colamanito.
Jennifer, come on up.
Thank you, Mr. DiCarlo and board members. Appreciate the opportunity to come out tonight. I'm not often at these meetings, and I'm speaking tonight on behalf of a lot of other parents who I've spoken with who also aren't able to be here. But we wanted to voice support for the librarians and for the students. Thank you guys so much for identifying books that should be available to our children at age-appropriate levels. I think that's not a question. The question is the kind of slippery slope that we get into that leads us to what could be book banning. We are very fortunate to have these professionals that are trained to understand what's age appropriate, what kind of content children need. As parents, we're not always objective. Our voices are critically important, but we're not always objective. And we need to listen to those professionals who influence our child's development. And the availability of these books has the opportunity to transform children's lives. I think this was well said before. And to be able to explore those libraries. Kids don't even read much these days. They're on their phones all the time. The fact that they're in libraries, exploring these shelves, we should be encouraging that. We shouldn't be discouraging that. And if we aren't taught, if they're not reading it in the book, we're not talking to them, they're going to see it on TikTok. Like, we can't ban these ideas, but if we make sure that appropriate literature is available to them, and that there's a process by which they can explore these things, we're all going to be better for it, because we have to prepare them to live in a diverse world. The world is not Manbac. People are going to go and live amongst other people with other life experiences. And books are how people experience those things. And we need to trust the librarians, we need to trust the processes and the professionals. So I just wanted to kind of give a voice to that. I guess I'm hoping that you're going to donate these to a nursing home, because certainly there's a lot of people that need COVID tests, so if people don't want them, I hope others in the community can use them. And I also just want to thank the board and the leadership for doing the right thing during the pandemic. Our voices have not always maybe been here on the side of appreciating the mask mandates, appreciating the rules that have kept our children safe, that have kept our children in the classroom. And so I just wanted to say that, if you ask a kid, do they want to put on a mask? My daughter wears one every day and has no problem with it. Do they want to? No. Do they want to, eat broccoli? No. But, they have to do it. And so there's things that we need to do that is in their best interest. In the 1970s, I'm pretty sure they didn't look putting on seatbelts, but we also figured out that it helped us save lives. So I appreciate you being willing to do the right thing, and we've taken a lot of heat. And there's a lot of parents in this community that support doing the right thing by public health.
Sarah Ramirez.
Sarah?
Marsha Waldman.
Marcia? Hi, Marcia, welcome.
Thank you. I am a retired educator with full certification in English and technology,
First thing, I really want to express appreciation to the faculty here. Yes, it's been difficult for the kids, but it's been life-threatening for the faculty. And they have endured incredible difficulties over the last couple of years in order to continue our children's education. I think other people have spoken to the professionalism. Teachers have a bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, and continuing professional education. All of us love our children, but you have to keep in mind that our professional faculty, they know hundreds, even thousands of children, and they have a different perspective. That's important. That's why we trust them to educate our kids. And as far as wearing masks, if it saves the lives of our teachers, then it's something that we just have to put up with. Regarding books, I'm an English teacher, and I'm a technology teacher. I'm a parent of a girl who graduated here. I'm very happy. She's at Purchase now, where they have a theme of Think Wide Open. Think Wide Open is what we need here too. When you close off these resources to children, these children close down. They're in danger. Their well-being is in danger. My daughter had swastikas stuck in her locker. She had pictures of penises stuck in her locker because she was friends with a boy who was gay, who got stuck with pins, and another boy who was Jewish had pennies thrown at his feet. We need to teach diversity in this school. And frankly, I've taught around a lot because I'm an educator, not a typical teacher, done a lot of teacher training. Manbac has a bad reputation as a place where there's a problem with racism, and some of our athletes embarrassed us when they went out to play. We need to change that reputation. We need to help our children think wide open.
Christopher Havergan.
Chris?
Thank you. My name is Chris Harrigan. My son is in Manbac Middle School. I said at last meeting, I know I was a little late, but for the parents, we talked about the advocacy committee. And again, I wanted to thank the board for reaching out. A big thanks for that. So we're going to do great things with that committee going forward. We've already talked about the tests. I just think that's kind of like a weird overstep for the school to just kind of give tests out without seeing if we wanted them. I mean, making them available is nice. I'm sure some people appreciate the test, but it was just a little weird. So I'm donating my two back to the school district if someone would like to take them home tonight. But we've already touched on that. I think the overall theme that a lot of people are feeling is just disappointment. I've been speaking at these board meetings for a year and a half. I've seen two teachers get up, and I think it was the librarian spoke twice, and another teacher spoke, and one time it was about masks, and I'm just disappointed, and it's not with the board, it's with the whole system, and I think we're all frustrated, but it's very telling to me that in the past year and a half, these kids are a year behind, 6 months behind in their education, and we're just not seeing teachers come up here to advocate for them. I know they're working very hard. I'm not here to attack the teachers. I just find it very strange that we don't have any teachers speaking up at these. Maybe this is not the forum for it, but I would think at this point, 2 years on, we could have some teachers speak at one of these. So that's all I really have. Everyone's touched on everything. What I'll close with is, again, we talk about Albany setting directions for us, and we have to follow what Albany's saying, but they're not here tonight, right? And what is really discouraging is that You know, this is our community. Our children go here. Our money keeps the school running and it pays the salaries for all the teachers and the staff. It's not just the school though, it's our community, right? When the schools were closed off to parents, and maybe still are in some cases, that chips away at our community. When dances, sports, and field trips are canceled, that chips away further at our sense of community. When children are denied attendance at their own graduation because of draconian quarantine rules, that hurts our community. All right? All of these restrictions are robbing our children of important milestones in their life. It's not just an education for them. It's their primary source of community. And we'd like to see a return to normal. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Kelly?
Madison Nappy?
Madison?
Every day you see people who you used to know, but now with the masks, you can barely know who people are now. I wear my mask every day, still got COVID, and that was healthy. In gym, we are all hot, but we cannot take off the mask, and we have no fresh air. Please help to make the school normal again. My name is Sylvia Miller. I'm in 4th grade. I want to know when can not wear masks because I get rashes from them. I also can't breathe in them, and my glasses fog up. Now I'm going to speak about the cold lunches. I don't like that we have to eat by groups. You try eating in 1 minute or 1 second. The lunches are cold now because we have to eat in groups. I don't like to buy now, and it's not my school's fault because they're not the ones who's making us take turns. It's your job to fix this. We have to watch other people eat, and we aren't able to. Also, we can't even sit with our friends during lunch. We sit by ourselves. At recess, I want to talk with my friends in other classes outside, and we need to wear our masks. Please, can you help me with this problem?
Melissa Reardon. Melissa? Hi, Melissa, welcome.
Hello, good evening. So, once again, from what I'm hearing, is the words of the parents are being twisted. Apparently lies are circulating on social media about us by students, bullying us, telling that we want to ban books, certain books, like on the Holocaust. As you very well know, that is not our objective. I don't even believe that the Holocaust was ever even mentioned in one of the books to be banned, ever. So I don't know where these young children are getting their information, but it's quite concerning. I don't know if people are understanding that it's not the topic. If they listened carefully to when I spoke in the past meetings, they would know that I would not ban a topic of LGBT, especially since my son is in that community. Never would I stand up here and say ban that topic. It's the content. It is what is written. If you think that a sexual content is appropriate. And it always has to coincide with the LGBT community, that is wrong. You're misrepresenting the LGBT community. That is a misrepresentation of the LGBT community. My son went to the Harvey Milk High School, a transfer school in the village, because he was being bullied. Not one book was ever forced upon them of this. If anything, the teachers would say, don't have sex. You'll get STDs or you'll get HIV and die. Don't do it. That was 10 years ago. So to come out here and really say that we are trying to ban books based on a topic, that's incorrect. It's the content. And if I were to read this right now, the mic would go off. If I were to read some of the content, where, right? Let's be honest, because I can't say those words. The mic would go off for me. So if the mic would go off for me, then why is it made public for our children to have access to? I know children can see many things on the internet. That's the parents' job to control that. The same way that we wouldn't want that in the schools. Now, I do want to mention one more thing before my time is up. We are, as a Manbac community, we don't want any type of bullying at all. And that is between student and student, and that is between a teacher against a student as well. Students should not be singled out for anything. And that's horrific to hear. So I'm hoping that whoever started the bullying of us parents on social media will stop it. Because if anything becomes threatening, then I go to the local police. Because you are threatening adults, and then you're threatening families. And that will not go to the board, it will not go to the principal, it will go straight to local law enforcement. Bottom line, rumors start, right? That's the problem. When rumors start, get your facts straight.
No, is that it for us? Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Did you? I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
Two more.
Okay, I'm sorry, John Motor. My apologies. They don't get to break this from me, because I was sitting in the back right now.
Hello. My name is Annabelle Miller, and I'm in 6th grade. I go to Manbac Middle School, and I just want to say this one thing quickly. I've never been in the cafeteria at all this school year, and I'm actually really surprised at this one because I've never seen it before. And my question is, I'm kind of confused because when I was going to middle school, I expected more school trips and fun activities. And also earlier today, there was an announcement on the loudspeaker that said that kids had to wait to eat because there was no food. So when kids have to wait, their food, they're like starting to starve, and it's scary. So I don't know what to do about that. So I don't know what we're going to do about that. So you guys need to start thinking about what to do.
If we want these masks to go away, what would you do to get it
get up and speak, but thank you very much. And everybody, stay safe, drive home, stay safe. Need a motion to close the meeting. This out for second. Second. Trustee McCracken, all in favor? Aye.